Welcome to the 27th episode of the MC Knitting Adventures podcast. My name's Colleen.
And my name is May. For the returning viewers, welcome. And for those of you watching us for the first time, welcome. Today's adventure took us to London, Ontario.
Which is where we're from.
Our hometown. Again, because the weather has not been cooperating with us, so it's hard to get out and travel, and we're really not good at driving in the snow and the roads. So anyway, London, Ontario is a great place. We did visit LEN'S Mills. I think it's LEN'S Mill stores, yep. And it's in London, and we'll show you some video on that. And also there is Maxim, which is in London, and we visited there. But before we talk about those stores and our adventure, Colleen will talk about what we are wearing.
So first of all, we're going to talk about May's cowl. That is a hack of the Gold Dust Shawl by Haynes. And the yarn is a one-ply yarn that we dyed. So we dyed it with one color, and then we used some Kool-Aid to make the purple speckles.
Right. I can't believe we dyed this yarn.
I know. And how does it feel?
Light. It's light and soft.
Yeah, that's one ply yarn does that. Mm-hmm. All right. So it was just some that we found at a store that was just bare yarn, and I'm really happy with the hack. And in this case, sometimes I sew the back, and we may do a tutorial on how I hack a shawl pattern to make it something.
Because you do a lot of hacking for me.
Yes, I do.
You have these large shawls, and you cut them down to size, and they end up turning out quite nice. Like, right. This is very light, and I still can't believe we dyed this yarn. And especially with Kool-Aid, like, oh my gosh.
I know. Well, it's cool. Yeah. And it's been washed and blocked, and the color didn't come out, so it's going to be good. Sometimes I will fold the two back pieces of the shawl together and sew it, and I didn't in this case because it was just light enough that I didn't think it would drag you down.
Well, that's great. I love it.
So that's
Thank you. And I have a cowl, I think, for every day of the year.
We should
just have a show where I show you all the cowls that we've hacked.
We could do that.
Yeah.
Well, that would be fun. Okay, so that's that part. And as far as what I'm wearing, I am wearing something called the Quaker yarn stretcher.
Which is lovely. I like the gradient colors.
Thank you.
This is one skein of yarn?
It's one skein of yarn. And it's by Susan Ashcroft. And what happened was I was in a store in Toronto and picked up a skein. This is blue brick yarn. I'm going to get May to put up the ball bands later. And I said, I want to make sure there's enough on that one skein to make a shawl. And she said, this is the thing. Because it does stockinette stitch and then it does reverse stockinette stitch, it makes it grow bigger. So this is wrapped around a couple of times. I think in the winter it would be great. It would keep me warm. And so part of it goes, this is the Ocean Fortress colorways by the Blue Brick. And so it goes from a dark, dark brown into a cream into this lovely color of blue that we like. Yeah. As you can tell, because we
didn't even plan this.
No, we didn't. So that's what I'm wearing, and I really like this. I think I might do this with another one skein that I purchased, because it does make it go a little bit bigger, and it makes it stretch, which is why it's called Quaker Yarn Stretcher.
And it's not coincidental that it's a one skein
shawl knit along that's going on for us right now.
So that's not a coincidence, was it?
I didn't plan it, but as soon as I had this on, you went, that was just one skein. So we're going to talk about that a little later on in the podcast.
Perfect.
So that's what we're wearing, and next we're going to talk about finished objects. My first finished object is my Campside Cardi, and that's by Alicia Plummer. There's the pattern. Lovely pattern, by the way. I really, really like it. I made it in Estelle double knit, and the color is called French Navy, and I'm really happy with the color. Now, I don't have it here, and that's because it's upstairs on the blocking mats, soaking wet.
Do I have a photo of it?
Yes, you were going to take a picture, so May will put in a picture right here. And it's the first time I've ever knit a sweater where I blocked it. And I'm really, really happy. I looked on some YouTube videos, and so that made it nice. I didn't have to aggressively block it. The size I'm happy with, so I didn't have to stretch it out too much. It was a nice, easy knit. I was a little nervous about doing the band that goes up and around the back of the neck and the fronts. And the Cozy Up Knits sisters, I had sent an email, a little message saying, help, I don't know what to do. And Sarah told Jamie what to tell me back, and I followed what she said, and I'm really, really happy how that went on. It made it I'm mathematical, by the way, so we know that. So it helped me be a little mathematical and count the right number of stitches, and I'm really pleased how it turned out.
Well, I saw the sweater on before it was blocked, and it looked amazing, so I can't wait to see what it looks like on when you've had it blocked. And I'll take some good photographs, or maybe you can wear it on a podcast and show them, because I mean that's huge, being able to knit a whole sweater that fits. Like I would have one arm here and one arm here and get the whole thing symmetrical. So good job on that.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. So anyway, the picture you've seen, so that's good. The second finished object, oh my goodness, you're going to have to see a picture, and I'll ask May to insert it right here. And that is one of the knitted car seats by Mary Maxim. So this comes in a kit. It comes with the 4 colors of yarn, and I was doing the one that's aqua, but I did the basket weave one, and the yarn itself is called Baby Value. So there it is. And I did the aqua one for a gentleman that May was working with at school. His wife's expecting a baby, and we wanted to do it. So we wanted to get it to him
Before the baby
came. So we happen to have a wee doll that we have
a doll for that purpose too.
Exactly.
You know, if we knit little hats or that, we have it for display purposes. So we have this baby. We pretend it's our grandbaby because we don't have any. Don't tell anybody this. They'll think we're weird. But the doll comes in handy when you have a display item. So if you see a little baby there, it is a doll, and yeah, I think it works for the display.
It does work well for the display. So that was my second finished object. And the last finished object is Copenhagen Calling, and that's by Isabell Kraemer. And the yarn that I used was Sugar Bush Bliss. There it is. And it has, as requested by our viewers, 70% merino, 20% mulberry silk, and 10% cashmere, because our viewers wanted May to have some cashmere. So you've seen this mostly done, but I want you to see it blocked, because this yarn blocks beautifully. It is so soft. And I hacked the pattern again for you. I did it half the size, but this is going to sit nicely. I was a little worried about this edge, and after it's blocked, it's going to sit really nicely on you.
It feels like cashmere. If you could feel this, you would feel
it.
I now have cashmere. Beautiful.
Yeah, I think you're going to
So
really,
how
really
would you
like
put
that.
this on? This is at the bottom. This is at the top.
You know, it's really up to you. It might be nice to have the ribbing at the top so it has is a little sturdier.
Right.
And then the lace can open up a little at the bottom.
You see the lace on camera. I don't know if you can see that at the bottom, but that'll be great to experiment as to what way to wear this.
Exactly.
And I'm going to wear this on the next podcast.
Oh, perfect. I'm so glad.
Looking forward to that.
Exactly.
Wonder what color of top I should wear with that.
Oh, you like to wear white.
Decisions. Anyway, thanks again. That little peer pressure got me some cashmere. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So those are my finished objects, and next May is going to talk about her finished object.
Now, when listening to our viewers, we do have prizes, a couple of prizes for the knit along. And one of the viewers had suggested that maybe I do something as a prize.
I think that's a great idea.
And I thought that was a great idea and a good suggestion, so thank you for that. And so I had made one of these previously, little keychains. I had made...
Do you want me to hold it up a little?
No, I think I can...
Okay,
I think that's, it's a little keychain, and I will make 2 of these, and we'll put those in as a prize also.
That's
so
good.
that random generated number that we're going to pick.
Exactly.
And you can get one of my little keychain sheep.
Yeah.
You can even attach that to a
project bag.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know, just to
would be
be
great.
a little souvenir. So
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy, and that is one of my finished objects. I've made a couple of them. So
Perfect.
yeah.
That's fantastic. So let's just talk briefly about the knit along. I'll talk a little bit more about it. It was a 1 skein shawl knit along. That's what it is. Closing date is the 17th of March. So it'll be at midnight, so probably early on the 18th of March, and then I'm going to close it down, and we will select 2 winners. I'm going to make project bags. I'm going to make a few stitch markers, progress keepers, zipper pull kind of things, and then May's going to put in this lovely wee sheep. And
So we're going to have 2 prizes, but you may just add some things to the prizes, like a project
Exactly.
bag, and that'll be
Exactly.
great. So did you pick up the fabric from the stores that we were at, or what fabric will you? Is it a
Yes,
surprise?
I
the fabric?
did. I'm going to show you that when we get to souvenirs. You're going to see.
Great.
So those are our finished objects, and next we're going to talk about works in progress. My first work in progress is a Cozy Marvelous Shawl by Mary Maxim. So this came in a kit, And what I like about Mary Maxim's kits is that once you've bought the kit, then you can go into your own stash and figure out what kind of yarn you want to use. Now, I am using, oh my gosh, it looks a little bit like a,
I don't know what that is.
it's huge. Yeah, I used a 12 millimeter. The pattern called for a 15 millimeter and I didn't have one. So I thought, I'll just see how it's going. And I don't mind the fabric. It's quite lovely.
Like a torpedo thing.
It might look like a torpedo. So this is Mary Maxim Marvelous Chunky Yarn. So I'm just going to hold this up to you. There you go. And we'll hold it up. And what happens is when you're knitting with such big yarn, so this is bulky yarn doubled. There you go. So I think this would be a great shawl to wrap around and then use a shawl pin in. I have one that is just looks like a long stick. And I think if you were to, actually I can maybe use that knitting needle. Let me grab this knitting needle from you. If I were to wrap it around, sorry, I'm making the life really awkward and I'm not trying to. But you could wrap it around, let's see if I can do this, and stick it through. And then I think that would be a nice shawl. I think it's going to work out really well.
That would look great. And I think it'd be nice from the back too.
Exactly.
Nice from the back.
So this is 100% acrylic. Just let me double check that I'm telling you the truth.
Very thick and big.
It is thick and big.
You have to wear this on a cold winter day.
It says it's machine washable, machine dryable. I know it's going to tell me. Yes, it's 100% acrylic. And I think I'm going to try and block it. So if you stretch, I'll stretch. And then it'll open it up a little bit. And if it doesn't open up as much as I want, then I'll steam block it. And just because it really with acrylic, that's better. But I'm happy with the color. I wear blue jeans all the time on the weekends. And so that's going to be helpful with that. So that is my first work in progress. My second work in progress has the funny name and it's called a Twiddlemuff. And there are a lot of different patterns that you can get. And I'm going to show you how this works and then we're going to talk about what I've been doing with it. So, magic. All right, so the way that it works, this pattern works, is that you knit basically it's like a lining. And I'm going to, once I'm done, I'm going to weave some of this yarn through and put a few things in here. The idea is this is for a dementia patient or Alzheimer's patient and it keeps their hands busy.
So this goes on the inside.
So that will go on the inside, yeah, absolutely. So this will flip in. So I'll just do that. It'll flip in.
I can maybe demonstrate what.
So back in the day, depends on how old you are.
I remember having one of these, going to church.
They had things that are called muffs. So it was to keep your hands warm.
So, you know, you can see the hands are inside, and you were thinking of putting things in here.
Yeah, to keep people busy.
And this will keep people busy.
So let's just talk about what we had.
Okay.
So we had two different colors. This is the plain gray. We have one that's a little bit more marled, and it's they're called Premier Parfait. And once again, we got 100% polyester. There's that one. And I chose the two colors, and then I just wanted to start using up scraps of what I had. So I had some green. I wanted to pretend that it was the grass. We can let this be the sky, a little bit of blue sky as well. I put in some ribbon that I had, and the nice thing about weaving this in and out is if somebody pulls on that, it's not going anywhere. I put some green all the way around, and I've just started making some things to sew on because you want them to have things to keep them busy.
And the whole idea with the Alzheimer's patients and the special needs students, if there is any that want to use this, is that they can pull and pull things off and put their hands in it and that type of thing.
So the reason why it's lined is all that stitching that you'll be putting on to tighten it up, they're not going to be able to get at.
It's a great idea. Now,
so this doesn't look like much like a sun, but it does look like a little bit of a sun. So I'm going to put that up here in the sky. I'll sit that there. And these little pieces, you can pull all you want. It's just going to tighten them. So that's that.
You got a little flower?
There is a little flower to put on the green. So on the green grass, I might make a couple of those. Right. And then I've got red because I'm going to put a nice red heart on there.
Now sometimes they put zippers and buttons and all kinds of little things in there. But I think this would be a great little thing for somebody.
Exactly. So sometimes I'm just being careful about doing buttons and those kind of things when we're looking at some special needs students. If they're going to put something in their mouth, we're going to have to be careful.
You know that stitch thing?
I know, May's having a stress moment. It's okay.
Okay, we good?
It's just big yarn. I can do it. Okay? She's being very careful and I appreciate that. So it's pretty close to being done. Once I get all the pieces sewn on, then I will join it in, and then I'm just going to mattress stitch the top, and it'll be one tube. And then we've got some ideas of where this is going to, we're going to give it as a gift to somebody.
Right. And you know, I think it's going to be great to experiment with the things that you can do with these, like you say, zippers and buttons and bows or whatever else you can do. And maybe even give them, you know, maybe make one or two for the old folks hospital or retirement homes or something with their Alzheimer patients, to have them try it out to see.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, so then we could come back in one of our podcasts and we can let you know how it actually worked out.
Exactly.
So,
it's been lots of fun to do, and I don't do a whole lot of crochet, but it's nice to pull that out and say, okay, I can make a magic circle, and it's just all learning. YouTube's a wonderful thing. You get to learn a lot.
It's not a cowl, but I like it.
Yeah, if you try to put that over your neck, you'll be good.
And we didn't dye the yarn either.
No, we didn't.
But you know what? What a great idea.
Yeah.
What a wonderful idea.
I think it's going to work really well.
Yeah, you've got some great ideas.
Oh, well, thank you.
To come up with that.
Well, I have to admit that the Cozy Up Stitchers with Stitching Sisters that I love to watch, they were going to like a presentation by somebody, and they were trying to do that. The one lady and her daughter were both knitting one. It was really quite cool.
For Alzheimer's patients?
Yes, absolutely. So that was exciting. Now the last one, I'm just going to show you this. This is actually a little lunch pail. I tend to grab these kind of things. This is Me to We, and they're all about donating money for water in countries that need help with that. So when you buy something, they give a little bit of money towards that. So this I actually got at Staples, can you believe it? But I thought it was cute, and it's a little bit of a project bag.
Right. Great idea.
Yes.
Me to We, it's lovely.
Yes. So this is the Souvenir shawl. And that's by Maria Samuelsson. And
this one skein.
This is one skein.
Wow.
And
I like one skein.
Yes, and it's Leo and Roxy yarn. And this has merino, and it has cashmere.
Wow.
And it has silk in it. So we have to be careful because there's, I don't know, 300
I don't know many
stitches.
stitch markers on this.
Yes, there's lots. So what I did, and I don't often do that, but when there's so many, let me see if I can flip this around. Yep, when there's so many stitches, I've just blocked off the number of repeats of the lace pattern at the bottom. So I'm working away. It's lovely because it was garter stitch all the way up to the lace pattern, and now I've got to do a little bit of knitting and purling, and I'm okay with that. So I think I'll have mine done by the 17th. I don't get to enter, but I wanted to do that. And I am really enjoying this pattern. So I don't often knit with charts. Usually things are spelled out for me in words, but this is okay. I'm handling it all right. I can understand what they're having me do, and I really, really like it. It's going to be fairly long and fairly skinny, as you can see.
It'll be nice when it's finished.
I think it's going to be
And I'm just
beautiful.
enjoying looking at all your little stitch markers. They all have little meanings.
Yes, they do.
Do they? Don't they? That's
so
great.
some of them that I made, and this one is from the store Hand Knit in Hamilton, and
there's a little, what are these ones?
the ones that look like that, the Celtic ones, are from Ireland when we went.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's kind of neat.
Exactly. So I'm really pleased using them, and I'm pleased with how this is knitting up. So if any of you else of you are doing the souvenir shawl, I think you're going to really like it.
Love the color of the yarn. It's great.
Well, it's purple.
Purple. Yes.
It's purple. We like purple. So that is my works in progress. They kind of seem to be really big and bulky today, but that's okay. And next, we're going to talk about our adventure.
Well, as you know, our adventure took us all the way to London, Ontario. It wasn't too far for us to drive, but the weather did cooperate a little bit. It snowed somewhat, and just enough that we could do some things in town, like Mary Maxim and LEN'S Mill. I keep putting an S on that, Mills, but it's LEN'S Mill.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've talked about London before on one of our first earlier podcasts, so I don't want to be repetitive, but it is a population of about 400,000. We are surrounded by Great Lakes. There's Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, Lake Huron. It's a great place to be. The summer is absolutely amazing. Winter, there's a little bit of skiing up in the Collingwood and Ontario, but a few hours away. We do have a ski hill in London, but it is not, it's called Boulder Mountain. It's not huge, but it's a great place. Right. It's like a hill mostly, but it's good for skiers that if they don't want to.
Just to learn, that's a great place, yeah.
So anyway, that's London, and we just drove. It's only about 10-15 minute drive to both these places, and of course our adventure, we went into an antique store.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. You started at this antique store and you go in the door, and I was thinking this small little place, and it kept going on forever and ever and ever, didn't it?
It did.
It was the longest and biggest, but it was very well organized.
Yeah.
You know how some antique stores can be,
Yes, absolutely.
it was very well organized.
Yeah.
So that was part of the adventure. We had a great lunch. We went out for lunch. Of course, that's what we do. And it's always about the food.
Yes.
And dessert.
Yes.
So we had a great adventure inside London and able to provide this podcast for you. So hopefully our other adventures will, as the weather gets better, we can go a little further.
Right. So I know that you made a video about LEN'S Mill store because...
Yes, I did.
You walk into that store and oh my goodness, it is so big and there are things everywhere and a lot of the shelving is really, really high. So every once in a while I hear May go, Colleen, where are you?
Now, what I'll do, Colleen, is I'll put the video in and then right now,
Okay.
and then when we come back we can talk about it because the magnitude, you have to actually see the store walking around to see the
Exactly.
magnitude of the store. So put that video in now and then we'll talk about it when we come back.
Hi everyone, we're on an adventure. We're not going too far because it's supposed to snow all day today, but we're heading off to LEN'S Mills and Mary Maxim in London. So come on and enjoy the trip with us.
you think of that store? It is this, how can you describe that? It is this massive industrial, I only showed you the yarn and some of the material but they have winter coats, they have a child section, a men's section, they have snow shovels. I actually had a container, if I can find the picture, I took a picture of this, a whole bucket of empty pill bottles that they were selling. Random things, crafter things, beads, they have, if you're a painter, they have some canvases, they have dishes, they have bedding, it's this massive, massive warehouse. If you have a day, actually there was a lady in the store, I don't know if you ran into them where I was, there was a lady that kept saying, I can't believe this, I'm going to be in here all day. And she said, I'm going to quit my job and just come here and craft. And it was quite funny to listen to her because it is a little overwhelming. We spent about an hour in there because there's just, well, as you can see from that video that we showed you, they don't have one thing of thread, thousands. How do you pick your fabric?
Exactly.
How do you do that?
It's a good question.
But any kind of fabric you want. If you are a camper, they have camping fabric. They have Canada fabric. They have
fabric
pumpkin,
with sheeps on
sheeps,
them.
cars.
Christmas, it's everything.
Like if you want any fabric, you can't find it there. It doesn't exist. And you see the foam that was there, the big pieces of foam that was in one of the pictures, the 4-inch foam, and that's the foam that I used when I did that's where we bought that foam from to do the back of the car. And you can watch that video. It's one of our car camping videos. I think it's up in one of our videos. You can show how I did that. That's where I got that foam from. What else have we bought from there? We don't really buy clothes because it's more bulk kind of clothing.
So I have purchased yarn there. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the yarn. You have to be willing to dig through some things. But there are some things that surprise me. There is Regia, which is great sock yarn. There is Bernat yarn and Patton's yarn. And there is James C. Brett yarn. There are all different kinds of weights. They have all different kinds of knitting needles. They actually had some of the sugar bush yarns that's called Itty Bitty. And they didn't have the color that I would have picked for you. I was going to make May another cashmere cowl, but that's the kind of yarn I was going to buy, and I wasn't expecting to find it there.
How are the prices?
The prices are good. They're a little bit cheaper. They have Lion Brand yarn, which you also find at Michael's. So I really would be happy with the kind of yarn. Sometimes there's blanket yarn that's kind of fuzzy, similar to what we're doing on that Twiddlemuff. So there's all different kinds of yarn there. And go give it a shot and see what you come up. Sometimes they don't have the color quite that you want. I know I've got some of that Bernat socks yarn, so it's sock yarn that doesn't have any wool in it. But there are so many different kinds. And you were over with looking at the beads, and we spent a long time in the fabric, which we'll talk about when we talk about souvenirs.
Now, there's another LEN'S mill, and where is that one?
There are LEN'S mill stores all over the place.
Is there?
Yep. So we went to one that was in Woodstock, which is very similar to what we saw. Maybe not quite as big.
Large.
The Woodstock one, and it was equally as nice, and found all kinds of good things in there as well.
And one of the viewers had suggested, we had said that we weren't able to find Kool-Aid to do some yarn dyeing, so we had to go to the States. So we were all over London, Ontario,
trying to find
it. We were
couldn't find
every
it.
grocery store you can name. We were trying to find Kool-Aid, and anyway, one of the viewers, which was thank you very much, suggested, you know what, LEN'S mill has the Kool-Aid. So sure enough, we went and see, and we wanted to let you know if they had it or not, and sure enough, look what we found.
There we go. Now, they didn't quite have all the colors that I would have. I realize they're flavors, but when you're looking to, so we got grape, which is what we
and they
did
didn't
this
have
one.
grape.
They didn't have grape, but
So-
I picked up a mixed berry and a lemonade, and we'll see how it goes.
Now, in the States, they have quite the selection.
Yes,
they just didn't have the
absolutely.
same selection. But thank you for one of our viewers again. Appreciate that for you doing that.
So technically not a souvenir, but we did find it, so we're happy about that. So that was LEN'S Mills, and then we went to Mary Maxim, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about the yarn there. Once again, this is a little store. It's over by the South End chapters.
On
in
Wellington
that little
Road
mall.
in London. It's
Right.
a little plaza
Yeah.
there, and right next door there's a Chapters
Yes.
that has Starbucks.
Yes,
Of course,
so
we had to have a Starbucks.
That's there. And so when we went, I've been watching this Mary Maxim, and they keep getting this different kind of yarn. So they have Mary Maxim yarn, absolutely. So they have kits that are made up, they have all kinds of things like that. But they also have Cascade yarn, they have Estelle yarn, they have Diamond yarn. They had something, and it was a, I can't remember the name, but it was a gradient, it was beautiful. They have different kinds of sock yarn. They are starting to bring in fabric as well, because if you've ever been to the store in Paris, you can get quilting fabric there, so they've just started to bring that
Paris,
in as
Ontario,
well.
that is.
Yes, I've never been to Paris, France. That's another adventure. We're going to go there. So it's really neat in this nice little store to have all this very different kinds of yarn. They have all kinds of samples that are knit up.
Now, Mary Maxim has a catalog, and how do you get the little catalog? Do you have to?
You can either go into the store and pick one up, or you can subscribe, go onto their email and subscribe, and they'll send you one in the mail.
And they ship all over, you don't know that?
They do ship all over.
Wow.
Yep, absolutely. There was something that I wanted that I hadn't seen in the store, but was in the catalog, and I just waited until I got an email that said, "Oh, it's free shipping," and boom, away we went.
Wow.
And so then it came right to the house. It was quite exciting.
Now, the Mary Maxim in Paris, Ontario, is absolutely huge.
Yes, it's
in
probably
comparison
about 4
to one,
times the size.
Yes, in comparison to one in London. But in London, you can get the things out there because of the catalog, and they'll probably ship it to that store. And
Absolutely.
You can pick it up. So great little store. The lady there was very nice. Let us take some photographs. Wonderful adventure in our own city of London, Ontario. Sometimes that's a good place to be.
It was a good adventure, and we met some lovely people, and Olwyn is the assistant manager at Mary Maxim, and she was a sweetie and let us, as you say, take pictures and answered a few questions for us, which was great. So that's our adventure, and next we're going to talk about souvenirs. Our first souvenirs come from LEN'S Mill. It's not the Kool-Aid. But I was trying to find some fabric to make the project bags for our souvenir shawl, for the knit-along. And so we found this beautiful fabric. So May loves that blue that's in the background, and as we know, I enjoy a purple. And so what we did was we found this fabric, so I can hardly wait to get sewing. So I have to throw this in the washing machine, get it washed up, and then I'll be working on making that project. So project bags. The knit-along closes on the 17th of March. Okay, and then after that, we'll do that random number.
So get knitting if you want to win one of these.
A project bag made of that fabric.
That'd be great. This
Exactly.
is beautiful.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Yes. So that was what we got at LEN'S Mill, which was our goal, and we met that. And then we went into Mary Maxim, and I picked up 2 different things. So they had there, it was a little baby hat with some little baby booties. Beautiful. And I really liked the yarn, and so it's Estelle Ray Cozy Soft Prints. It's a machine washable wool blend, 75% acrylic and 25% wool, and there it is. And I love it. It's got greens and blues, and it was really knit up nicely, and I thought, oh, I like that. I think that'll work. Okay, because we've got lots of nieces and nephews that are in the process of going to be having babies, so we want to make sure that we have something for them. So I'm going to start working on something.
So a hat and some little boots.
Boots, I think that's what's going to happen. I'm able to get 2 out of there, so that's good. And then this is what I found. So this is a kit. Now this is an adult kit, and it's to make work socks, or socks that look like work socks.
You know those work socks that they look like this? There's a picture of them right there.
Exactly. So it's that gray and white marled, and then this one has a cream and a red. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make wee socks. So I'm going to go into my stash and my patterns, and I'm going to see if I can find a pattern to make little people socks. And
these are very popular right now. They make cowls like this, and
absolutely
socks, and all kinds of things like the mitts and hats.
Yeah, and I think they would be cute for little babies. And I think because it's Patton's Croy sock yarn, and I know that it's really, really warm, so that would keep little people's feet warm.
Good luck with trying a little pattern for that. I can't wait to see those. Those will be great.
It's going to be fun. So that was our souvenirs. Now, let's talk once again about our souvenir shawl cowl. So the idea is, it is a 1 skein shawl it's designed for that skein of yarn. So you've been to a store that you like and you buy a skein of fingering weight yarn, most often, that is going to be your souvenir for that shop. And in all our travels, I've done that a number of times. And so we wanted to use those things up. So we wanted it to be short because we were kind of started the beginning of February. It's ending the 17th of March. So you get to choose what you'd like, what skein of yarn, what pattern you're going to do. And then the idea is you post your picture in the finished objects thread. So no chatter in there. That's on our Ravelry group, which is MC Knitting Adventures. And post it there, and then we will do a random number generator. We're going to have 2 prizes, and then we will select the winners. Now, I wanted to, normally I just put up a pattern, but I wanted to actually show you some one skein shawls. So this is the Night Train Shawl by Shannon Dunbabin. And I'll put all this information in the information box below.
That's a nice one. Have you wore this one?
I have, and it's nice and light, and it wraps around a couple of times, so it's really, really nice.
Beautiful color.
So, yes, once again, purple. Night Train Shawl, right?
Yeah.
Shannon Dunbabin.
Very nice.
So this is, this one, once again, one skein shawl. This is called the Stash Buster Shawl. Now, I've put in some eyelets. You don't have to. And this is by Heather Haynes. And this is Yarn Indulgences yarn, and I really like this. It's got a little bit of some cashmere
nice,
in there.
nice,
Yeah,
soft,
enjoy, good. Nice and soft. So that's that one. This is the mummy shawl to May's baby shawl. Oh, she's folding and tidying. She's such a good person there. There we go. So this is officially the Gold Dust shawl. So that's the size of it.
Yeah.
And so that, as you can see, there's May's. Let's put down, there's May's. That's the small version.
This is what you hacked?
This is the hack.
Oh, there
right?
you
So
go.
this is the big one. And once again, one skein shawl, and I tell you, the eyelets just open up and it makes it grow very nicely.
I'm so impressed that you can hack that.
I
don't know
know.
how you do that, but I would love to see your tutorial.
Okay,
on how
we're
that's
going to
done.
work on that.
Because that's amazing how you do that.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't wear this,
No.
but I would wear this.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
Nice.
So that's that. And this is the last one. And I haven't really mentioned this over the times I've been mentioning souvenir shawls. But this is Martina's Behm's Hitchhiker. So this is Hitchhiker. There is one that's called Hitchhiker Beyond, which I'm going to make at some point in time. And that's another one skein shawl. And the nice thing about it is you make it as big as the yarn that you have. And it works
Your
well.
stuff is beautiful. You know, when you see it all in the one place, you're doing a beautiful job. Like,
Well,
you know,
thank you so very
like,
much. I appreciate that.
I would be selling this stuff. But you know, when you go to work, you have such a variety to choose from.
Right.
And but your workmanship is beautiful. I'm not, you know, I know I'm not a knitter, but I can recognize when something's done well and when it isn't.
Oh, well, thank you
you've
so
done a
much for
great
saying
job
that.
on
I really,
this,
really appreciate that. Oh, she's still folding.
Yep, I'm the organizer.
So those are just some examples of one skein shawls that you can do. I will write down a list. There's an Easy Goes It.
Interested to see if people use these and use different colors and to what they would look like.
I know.
I'm kind of curious
I'm really
about
looking forward to seeing that. So the one that I'm doing once again is the Souvenir shawl by Maria Samuelsson. But you don't have to use that pattern. Use one that you've got. Some of these patterns are free. Some of them are paid for patterns. So just choose what you'd like. And then you've got till the 17th of March to get your picture into our Ravelry group, into that finished object thread. So if you have any questions, don't be afraid to comment down below. If you like what you're seeing, we're having such a good time doing it for you. So subscribe, let us know what else you'd like us to do, other places you want us to see.
Appreciate your suggestions and your comments.
Exactly.
It gets me cashmere.
It does get you cashmere. And the other thing is, it gets you little sheep. Because now we've got something for May to do. And she, you know, she loves doing those kind of things. So it's nice to have somebody pop that idea in.
Yeah.
And it works really well. So that is officially our 27th adventure. Hard to believe.
It is.
And until next time.
You take care.